and welcome to the Select Characters podcast. And I'm just going to stop with saying the episode number at the start of each episode because I find it very hard to retain numbers, so I'm just not going to do that. If you want to know which episode this is, you can look at the bloody title, don't you? Joining me today, as always, are my two American friends, Samuel Yates and Enrique Cancel. Hi, guys.
I, for one, miss the numbers because it's like you're playing Russian roulette.
You missed them already?
I mean, dude, it's like he's playing Russian roulette with math.
Kind of.
What? Okay, whatever. You know what? Shall we just talk about what we have been playing this week? So it has been another fantastic week for video games, even though it was really, really hot in Holland. It's cool now, but it was hot before, and it's still very, very hot in America. But I still want to know if you guys sat indoors and played something on your possibly overheating computers. Who wants to go first?
Yeah, I'll go, man. I did. I played RimWorld this week, like way too much RimWorld.
Okay, so explain.
Yeah, I was trying to think about how to encapsulate that game into a nice little paragraph, and it's tough. It's just one of those survival management games. What do you call those? Like a top-down perspective. Your dudes drop on a planet, you try and put together resources and build a base and survive, basically.
Is it roguelike?
It can be. That's the way I've been playing it. So there's no like going back to previous saves. Once you die, that's it. And
right.
So I've been doing it that way and just rebuilding colonies over and over again every time one of them gets wiped. But you can turn that on or off.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Yeah. What I think makes this one stand out is it has a director or kind of like an AI storyteller component that sends challenges at you in a way that is more narrative than you have in a lot of the randomly generated event kind of games.
Right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so you get this kind of smooth escalation with sometimes just stuff out of the blue that just crushes you. So you're always in this sense of, okay, this is fine. I can probably fix this until you can't. And that happens almost immediately and just carries forward through the whole thing.
So does that game sort of just drop you in the deep end and let you figure it all out yourself, or does it take you by the hand to sort of explain the basics to you?
It has some very light tutorials. It'll tell you sort of, hey, you're running a little low on food here, and then you kind of figure out the things you need to build, like a table with a stove to make food and, grow crops and these things. It's not extremely well tutorialized, but I feel like that might be kind of a bummer if it did do that and you had to go through it every time. Maybe like a separate mode where it's just like a learning tutorial would be good. Right. But generally speaking, it tells you the problems, but not exactly how to fix them. And a lot of times there's several different ways to fix the problem anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I like that you have different approaches to any given situation. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's really groovy. One of my favorite things about it is that as opposed to like Dwarf Fortress or Prison Architect, the number of people you deal with is very small. So you start out, you can obviously change all this stuff, but I've been playing default and the default storyteller who's named Cassandra and challenging and roguelike mode. And so you start out with 3 people, which lets you get a whole lot more of a sense of what they can do and who they are and actually kind of get to know them instead of having just 8 dudes running around and you're like, oh, I think you're the miner? Can't remember, right? So it's a little more cozy, I guess, than the other kind of games, and it's just awesome, man. It's just great. There's so much you could do, and it's still difficult. And
nice.
Normally with these kind of games, I pick up a couple tricks, I learn a few no-nos, things I shouldn't do, and then kind of steamroll over it eventually, and then I'm done with it until I decide to play it after some updates or something. But the guy making it seems to have a conscious view of it as an actual video game and also a simulation instead of heavily relying on the simulation aspect. So he does stuff like when people start tunneling into mountains and maybe that's too strong, he puts something in that's an insect infestation. These insect hives just come up out of the ground if you don't keep your mountain layer kind of clean and tidy. And then maybe if walls are too strong, he puts in people who can blow up walls. I had a nice little kill box on one of my first colonies, and then the pirates landed with a bunch of cargo pods and just built a mortar and started shelling my base, so the walls didn't even matter anymore. So it's always coming at you sideways with these, and there's tons of different bad things that can happen. There's some good things that can happen.
Don't you feel don't you feel that the cards are sort of stacked against you unfairly? Because it sounds like you never get a moment of peace and quiet to lick your wounds, as it were.
You could set it in a way that you could, but generally speaking, the storyteller kind of knows to back off just a little bit. Like after you get a huge raid, you're probably not going to get immediately another one. They sort of know to take the pressure off just a little bit and kind of let you recoup yourself. But it doesn't... There are events that can happen that have nothing to do with that. So I had a raid, I got through the raid, I had some people who were hurt, and then a random animal wandered into my traps, and then a whole pack of those animals became angry and just came at me. And that's got that's got nothing to do with the storyteller. Yeah, they're like these things called boomalopes, and when you kill them, they just explode in this giant radius, and like 6 of them came storming down just because one of them just happened to wander around and trigger one of my traps. And so... like, it's just, there's always something happening that you need to fix. And playing on the permadeath mode, eventually one of those things goes so wrong that you can't bring it back, and then that's it.
Is there a win state, or is this one of those games where you just have to survive for as long as you can, and there's no real ending unless you die?
There is a win state. The win state is you build a rocket ship and get off the planet.
Oh, yeah,
which is very cool. But yeah, I've never come anywhere even close to that.
All right.
I know it's out there, but I still haven't even gotten close. It's just, yeah, man, it's like actually a video game. Like that's the point that I guess I want to stress the most is it's one of those, but actually focused on being a compelling video.
Nice.
All right.
I know. For me, like one of the things I was kind of hesitant on was the art style looks like directly lifted off of Prison Architect.
Right? Yeah, it looks so similar.
It does, but I was I guess his name how do you pronounce that? Tynan?
Yeah,
it's
one of those.
Tynan. But I guess he did an AMA on Reddit, and actually he got that same exact question posed to him. It's like, hey, so why does this look like a copy and paste of Prison Architect? And he actually gave a pretty decent answer, basically just saying that because of the nature of the game and the constant things going on behind the scenes, it's really hard to have a fully developed graphics engine to kind of fully encompass that. So he also sucks with art. And I guess he basically spoke to, the main artist behind Prison Architect. They shared ideas, and he pretty much settled on using the same kind of palette just because of the simplicity of it.
Yeah, right. It's about information too. Like, how do you convey a lot of information without being overly complicated or anything like that? And it really hits like a beautiful middle ground between like ASCII or tiles and something that is fully 3D rendered or like fully pixel or something.
Yeah, and it's I guess just from hearing you describe it, it seems like that the similarities are pretty much just aesthetic and that's it.
Yeah.
As far as like gameplay and all that stuff, it seems like it's a completely different game. So that's actually sounds pretty interesting to begin with.
It is a radically different game. It's great, man, and it's just well set up as a game. And you find yourself like you start and you make the world and you kind of pick the spot where you want to go, and then you make these 3 colonists. And you can't actually assign the stats. You have to randomize them. Mm-hmm. So you spend time in there, just kind of keep pulling the lever, trying to get something better, and then landing on the planet, and then you look at the planet. And each one of those steps, you sort of become a little too invested to back out.
Right.
So once I land down, if there's no sight, I'm sort of inspired to figure out a way to make it work instead of go back, because I know I had to do all that randomizing with the colonists and stuff like that. Yeah. And so you can't really do everything, but the way that it funnels you into getting started makes it so that improvisation just sort of comes naturally. Right. So what always happens to me is I'll focus on fixing the thing that killed me last time. Like, okay, I need a super good doctor, and then I land and oh crap, nobody can cook. But I'm not going to go backwards to do it again. I'm going to try and figure out a way to like get these people going with my crappy cook. Mm-hmm. And I like that. I like the improvisational sort of nature of it, where you can almost make anything work. But normally in that situation, I'd be inclined to not engaging with that. I'd be like, what's the best thing? I want the best thing. And I would just roll with that. All right. So it kind of takes you out of your comfort zone a little bit. It's really cool.
Yeah, that sounds really interesting. Okay. So is this game actually out, or is it in early access?
It's Alpha 14.
Early access then. All right.
But still totally a video game. I mean,
yeah.
Is it fleshed out enough to, I guess, for you to enjoy the experience as a full game? And
yes.
just...
Yeah, man.
Okay.
If this was a release, I still would have bought it.
Okay.
Well, that is
so
high
good,
praise,
man.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. All right, nice to hear that there's another early access darling on the way.
Yeah, it's always kind of dicey because there's always those early access games like DayZ that you pick it up and you're like, okay, this is definitely unfinished, and then you get like rare gems, kind of like Don't Starve when it released, or even Darkest Dungeon that were actually pretty fleshed out and they felt like a full game, save for a few bugs. So I mean, that's good to hear that it seems to be the latter.
Yeah,
You can make cowboy hats out of human skin.
I'm sold.
Just want to give you that as the final note there.
Okay, you got to explain this to me. How can you make that? And why would you make that?
You cure the leather, clearly.
Yeah, they sell really well. I mean, like when you butcher corpses, you can butcher anything, but you can also butcher humans, and you get a little bit of a mood debuff from it because, unless they're, because that's not something people want to do.
That's not cool, man.
Yeah, although there is a trait called psychopath where all the mood debuffs, like from that kind of thing, don't affect people. To try and tell you anything in this game, I have to say like 6 other things. I'm sorry. Anyway, right. So you butcher them, and they make human leather and human meat, and then you can make cowboy hats out of anything, including human leather.
Okay.
And yeah. Human leather also sells really well.
Oh, so, sure. Of course it does.
I'll let you ponder on the moral
quandary. The latest fad, I guess.
Yeah. So
I mean, the market wants what it wants, right?
Yeah, the game has some very deep, very dark corners, but it's just really cool, man. And I actually find myself interested in like the stories of these people and what's going on, and actually telling a narrative and playing a video game at the same time. Just really hits all the right buttons.
You say that as if it has just dawned to you that you can have both these things present in any given game.
I think it just did.
Like
normally
a game
one
and story?
detracts. Yeah, it's weird, man.
All right. Anything else?
That's it, dude. Just a lot of that.
You've just been consumed by RimWorld the entire week.
It's really I can't get that first piece of traction in it. That's what's driving me crazy, man. Like I'm still losing. I can burn a colony down in like 3 hours. It's still there's still a lot of question marks in that game that I really want to get to the bottom of. Yeah,
you've not reached the aha moment yet, as it were.
Yeah, I've had a lot of little ones, but man, not one big enough to get me through.
All right, so to be continued, hopefully.
Yeah.
Very good. Okay, let's slide on over to Enrique Cancel. Hi, man. What have you been playing?
I played a little bit of Technomancer.
Right.
I can't talk too much on it because I only played for like an hour, but the impression that I got, it feels like a poor man's Mass Effect. If that makes any sense.
Yeah. In what way is it
it's
similar?
It's got a lot of the just similar concepts, and just it evokes a lot of the similar feelings where you have your own character. He's on the run from like the secret police, and throughout the game, you have, I guess, the whole technomancy aspect is kind of like the biotics were in Mass Effect,
right?
Where they're like a subset of powers. You do have the different weapons. You can get like you can craft weapons and armor. You actually have party members that you can go through, and from the feel that I get, I guess you can influence a story to have multiple endings as well. Mm-hmm. And it's got that whole sci-fi feeling, set on Mars and stuff. But I haven't played too much into it. For whatever reason, it didn't grab me right away. I got through the character creation, which it's kind of like, it's not as in depth as Mass Effect, but it's decent. And just get a couple like the intro missions, but I don't know, man. I just got this feeling that it was like when you're telling your mom you really want Mass Effect for Christmas, and she's like, "I got you Technomancer." The guy at the EB Games said this is what all the kids want.
Oh no!
And you're like, "This is okay, I guess." So I don't know. Like I'm gonna try to like sit through it this weekend and see if I can get like a better view of it, but I don't know, man. Like I said, I played for a little, like about an hour, and I was like, I'd rather be doing something else right now.
Right. There has to be something there, though, because from what I gather, it's been getting decent reviews at least, and people seem to like it.
It's not a bad game. I mean, like I said, it's fun, and it's got all the things you need to enjoy it, but for whatever reason, it wasn't grabbing me. But it's by no means a bad game.
All right.
So, like I said, I think I just need to be in the right mindset to sit down. Because I've also been distracted because Monster Hunter's been out, so I've been playing that, but I've already talked to that. And World of Warcraft, actually, they did their pre-patch for Legion where they completely redid the transmog system. They redid all the talent systems and everything like that. So that's actually been really fun to jump back into and kind of figure out again.
Has the event started yet? The pre-expansion event?
No. I think it might be starting today. I'm not sure because I haven't logged on because of the servers. But no, all that pre-patch did was just kind of they set up the new transmog system. They redid the talent system, the stat squish and all that stuff. So it just kind of basically priming everything up.
All right. So now that we're talking about it, are you looking forward to Legion? Because I've been looking trailers and stuff, and it seems like this is going to be a good one.
I am. A lot of the changes they're doing seem like fun, but I'm mainly into it because I'm a huge just a lore nerd for Warcraft in general.
Oh yeah, totally with you there, buddy.
Yeah, dude. I played that back in the day with orcs and humans, and then I remember I used to sit in a cyber cafe and just play Warcraft 3. Frozen Throne and Reigns of Chaos with my buddies back to back. So it was that's it holds a special place in my heart. That's why Wrath of the Lich King was one of my favorite expansions because you had Arthas and you had all those lore characters.
Oh god, man, I fucking love that expansion with the Nordic themes and stuff. The Vikings loved it. It's really good.
And the whole concept of the Lich King and the Scourge and all that. So with this one, I'm super psyched because Illidan's always been a really cool character. Yeah. Which his story is actually really fucking badass, and the whole concept of the Legion coming back to Azeroth and Gul'dan and all that stuff. So I'm psyched. At the worst case, I'll probably just level 200 to get the story out of it, and then I'll stop.
Yeah, that's what I usually do, to be honest.
Yeah. But, I mean, even the artifact system seems really fun for weapons and stuff.
Yeah, I like how they are going full ham on putting the players in the center of everything. You are the most important person in the story now. They're just not going to pretend like you're just another adventurer, which is kind of cool of them. I like that. Plus, I love that the Vrykul, the Viking race of giants, they're coming back as well. They've got their own part on the islands that you can go to.
They do, apparently.
Yeah, and I love that Nordic theme and the music, so I'm looking forward to seeing that again.
You probably like the warrior, because I guess every character gets a class hall, and the warriors have this amalgam of Valhalla and Nordic afterlife kind of thing for them, so this is pretty cool.
Christ, maybe I have to make a warrior then, because I have made one before, but never really played that.
They feel so weird now, and from what I've read on the forums and stuff, I think that's the general consensus for a lot of the classes.
Yeah, because people need to get used to it.
Well, dude, I mean, they completely changed the class, the classes. Period. They got rid of a lot of, I guess, inane talents because after a while, there's certain builds that come out. They're like, hey, this is the most efficient way to play, and if you have this build, you have to have this skill kind of thing.
Yeah, but it usually just amounts to you've got 30 spells or something like that. Just pick a random number, right? A random high number, but you only use 5 or 6 of them.
Exactly. So they took a lot of the more redundant spells. They got rid of them. They either completely ousted them or they actually just made them into passives. So they're passive by spec and stuff like that. So depending on what you're playing, those skills are, you don't need to activate them anymore.
That's good.
Some of them are just, you can choose to opt in on them or not when you're doing your little talent spread. Mm-hmm. They made it so you actually don't have to pay to change your spec like you used to. You can just change it on the fly every time you go back to town, you can change all your talents. Or if you have a little I think Tomb with a Clear Mind, you can do it when you're out in the middle of a raid and stuff.
Right.
So it's a lot of quality of life improvements, which are really great. But I mean, dude, it's so weird trying to figure out your class again because I guess they took a lot of effort in making every single class feel different, which is really nice. Mm-hmm. A Fury Warrior doesn't feel like an Arms Warrior, and a Ret Paladin does not feel like a prop paladin in regards to the mechanics or anything like that. They feel completely different instances, which is really fun. Even hunters got changed completely to where you have, I think their marksman spec doesn't use a pet. You have their beastmaster spec, and then you have their survival spec, which is now a melee spec for hunters, which is completely off the wall. It's fun, but it's weird because I get the feeling that a lot of the classes they're tuned to play at level 110, so it feels like you're not hitting as hard as you could right now, or that you're not there's something missing in your rotation. It feels like.
Well, it's probably just because these subtleties of the newly designed classes aren't really explored all that much by the community. I mean, they'll find it eventually.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's more than that because things like Death Knights, for example, Froth Death Knights, the way the rotations work, is very dependent on haste, and I know the artifact weapon has a passive buff that increases their haste. So a lot of the classes that they are right now, if they feel like there's something missing, it's because it is. It's because they're either tuned to have their stats at 110, or they're not. They don't have that support that you're supposed to get from your artifact weapon. Because the whole point of the artifact weapon is like, you get this legendary weapon that belongs to some hero. You take it for yourself, and that's only weapon you use for the expansion. And you can kind of modify it and upgrade it and change it around, but like that's the weapon that you're going to have. And I think your talents are basically all centered around using that.
Interesting. Oh, excuse me.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm having fun with it though, and the transmog system is honestly my favorite bit of it. They made it so the game keeps track of everything of what you loot now, so you don't need to have like your void storage filled to the brim with like all the items that you want to dress up as. Like as soon as you have it in your inventory, it'll save it to like a little inventory tab like Diablo does.
Right.
And you can just go transmog system and just like, change it out, which is really cool.
Yeah, I do like that. It makes it easier for players to just express themselves in the way that they want to, instead of being tied to a specific tier or something like that, or having to keep all these stuff that they want to transmog into in their bags and stuff. This is better.
Yeah, because it sucks. Like, like the more content they release, people are running out of bag space because there's more and more shit to carry around, and now they're giving you the options like, okay, hey, you can just get rid of all this stuff because we'll have it for you.
Yeah, exactly. That's pretty cool. I like that.
So that goes up there with the quality of life.
So not to sound too dramatic, obviously, but the interest in World of Warcraft has steadily declined over the past few years, even to the point where they're not really talking about subscriber numbers anymore. But we all know that the game is far from over. It's far from dead. A lot of people are still logging in daily, more than most other MMOs have combined, really.
Yeah.
But do you think that after Warlords of Draenor, which was not very well received by the player base, do you think that if you look at all the changes that are coming to the games and the content that's coming to the games, do you think that this is a sort of saving grace, as it were?
I can guarantee you there's going to be a huge uptick in subscriptions.
Oh, yeah,
obviously. That's the way like the pattern goes.
Oh, yeah, it's always the same. Like the first 2 months or something of a new expansion pack, everybody is playing it again, and the subscriber numbers go up by a couple million. But do you think that what they've done now is enough to keep a large part of that influx of users at the start of the expansion there to play the game for longer?
Maybe. It's really hard to predict though, because I think it may be just because like the changes that they've made are so drastic that if nothing else, I think it'll help people keep around just to see what else is gonna kind of come with it.
Yeah,
I'm hoping. So
yeah, it seems.
I can tell you anecdotally that my Overwatch crew is all back in World of Warcraft doing preparation stuff or something. They're getting ready.
That sounds about right.
Yeah, they say there's stuff that like once the expansion comes out, you won't be able to get anymore. I don't know what that is all about, but
I've not been keeping up to tabs with that really, to be honest. So.
Yeah, I'm not sure what it is specifically, but I do know that when the expansions comes out, they usually do like a sweep of like older raids and dungeons and loots and stuff like that. Where like, hey, like this little item that was supposedly really difficult to get is not going to be a cakewalk because of the level disparity, so we're just going to get rid of it.
Yeah.
Or, they might just make a number of changes that like once the Legion goes live and I guess the new ARS and stuff come out, a lot of the old content will just have to be moved out. So I can see that because that happened with I think some vanilla raids like Zul'Gurub, for example. Mm-hmm. That was like an old raid where it had I think a really rare mount, like 2 really rare mounts that could drop from there. And when they actually rehashed the raids and turned them into instances, and that actually got rid of the old one, they took out the mounts and everything from the game. So,
yeah, maybe it's stuff like that. Anyway, it's a bummer because I get online to play Overwatch, and those kids are all like getting chaos tomes or some kind of ring or something like that. I'm like,
playing
man,
World of Warcraft and all that.
Man,
Sam,
all right.
weren't you planning on jumping back into World of Warcraft?
I was thinking about trying it. I got my account back. Like, I logged in to see what was up with it, and it was, I guess somebody took it in Taiwan, had control of it.
Oh, yeah.
And so I got it back, but I didn't have any cool goodies on there. I just had the same old stuff. I have a level 60 character on there.
Hey, well, I mean, if you get the expansion, you actually boost them to 100.
Yeah, that might be. I don't know, man. I'm thinking maybe, but not. I don't know. Really soft, maybe. I have a priest on there called Vocabulary, so should probably keep that around. That's a pretty groovy. That's a groovy name.
I mean, do what most people do, like just buy the expansion and sub for a month, and then that's it.
Yeah, that's what I do. I don't want to play it full time anymore, but play it for a bit. Just enjoy the story and the leveling stuff. I like leveling in a game, actually.
I'll give you a soft maybe.
Soft maybe. All right. Well,
That's
we'll just keep badgering you about it because I want to know your thoughts about the current game. Because you are in the best position to do that, actually, because you played during vanilla, which is a time where a lot of players look back on fondly. And you can
vanilla was a shitty time.
It was fucking horrendous, mate.
I'm gonna tell you that right now. It was a shitty time with shitty raid drops and shitty groups.
Yeah. I never understand when people tell me like, well, today everything's too easy. Just queue for a dungeon and then you can do it instantly. Like, all right, well, the alternative, mate, was sitting in a capital city spamming trade and general chat for fucking hours to get people together. They had to walk to the fucking dungeon to do it. That's not fun. Now I can just press a button and play the game I actually pay for,
Not even that. Fucking, dude, they added more flight paths and you see where each flight path connects. That's all. That alone makes it worth it, because I remember in vanilla, you had no idea where the fuck you were going, and you could land in a flight path, and you're like, shit, this connects nowhere near where I need to go. Let me go back.
Yeah, don't look at it as those convenient features making the game easier. Look at it as a necessary convenience or as time goes by, because you need those things to make it easier for people. You need to make it more convenient to go out in the world and actually do the stuff that you want to do in that game. Sitting in one place, not doing anything, that is not fun. Might as well just queue and then do the stuff that you want to do, right?
Are you talking to me, or are you talking to the hypothetical vanilla-loving people?
This is a hypothetical.
Okay.
I will say this, though, that I can see their argument from the point of view that because of the facility that they've added, just to, like you said, random, like the dungeon queue and all that stuff, World of Warcraft doesn't seem like the kind of game where you can actually make friends anymore, if that makes sense. Because part of the appeal for, I think even before... What was that, Sam?
Good.
Well, part of the appeal before, I think halfway through Wrath was that the fact that there was no dungeon finder or cross realm stuff.
Yeah,
is that you had to play with the people on your server, and you got to know the people on your server, and everyone had their own reputations. You got to know what the good guilds were and who the tanks were and all that stuff, and you kind of build this camaraderie with people on the server, and that's how you got to meet your guildmates and all that. But now, because of it,
I wouldn't call it that.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry you're so antisocial, sir, but
just
I made some good friends on back on my Div, before all this stuff kicked in.
I usually played with people I know in real life. I never really played with people I met in the game, but that's just.
Well, aren't you Mr. Popular?
Yeah.
My friend dated a girl from our guild, and it was real. So I'd rather not have that. Does she live in Canada? I like the features that make that not happen. That'd be great. Please.
Well, then you could say that the current version of World of Warcraft is the very best version for you, mate. You don't have to interact with anyone ever, which is, in my opinion, is also kind of great. It's fuck being social. The fact that I see other players walking around is enough for me. That is the social experience for me. I'm out here doing stuff while somebody I don't know is also out here doing stuff. That's the social part I like. Once I have to interact with the players, actually talk to them and join guilds and stuff, that is where the fun ends for me.
I'll take it either way. I mean, I played EverQuest and Final Fantasy 11, I think. No, was it 11? Was that the MMO?
Yeah, 11 was the...
Yeah,
yes.
I played a ton of MMOs back in the day, man.
Dude, I even played... Dude, you remember Aeon? Did you ever try that one?
No, but I played Anarchy Online. Is that the one? No, you're talking about a different one.
Yeah, Aeon's the one with the weird winged people.
But my goal with all of that was always just to get shit done. And so, if I was getting people, it was a necessary evil. All right, this guy's a good tank. Let's make sure that, we're friends with him. And putting people together to get shit done, to level up and get the good stuff. And if you could just do that with a button, then I mean, that's great. I like that change.
Yeah, so you'll probably like modern WoW, right?
Yep. Make Azeroth great again.
I don't know if I want to play an MMO. MMOs are terrifying.
They are just a major time sink, which becomes increasingly harder to commit time to as you get older because you've got more responsibilities and other things to do and stuff. So
that's true.
Yeah, and when you do log on, you see all the other people walking around in epic gear and stuff, and you haven't even started the grind yet.
I mean, that proverbial carrot over. Yeah, on the stick.
Yeah, that is all that game is, man. It's like a virtual Skinner box.
Yep. And by the time you get your like all that real epic raid gear, the new tier comes out, and you're like, oh.
Yeah. I think that is why I stopped doing raiding and stuff, because by the time you actually did it, new tier came out, which invalidated all the progress you made before it came out. It just didn't feel right, you know? That's why I just stick to leveling.
Yeah, I mean, regardless, so like I said, I've been having fun so far just because it's new changes, kind of a breath of fresh air, and I'm going to play Legion again because the story, I'm going to make a Demon Hunter. I want to see what like Illidan's been up to and all that stuff, so...
Preparing, most likely.
You think he's prepared this time?
He's planning ahead for any and all eventual setbacks.
I see what you mean.
Memes. Anyway, if that's all on World of Warcraft, have you got more things you want to talk about?
No, that was it, man. Like I said, Monster Hunter, but that's like happy.
Right.
It's growing on me more. Like I said, I think my biggest hesitation was that they took away a lot of like the really easy entry that they did with the first one, where it felt so streamlined with for Ultimate. But now that once you start getting into it, dude, you kind of get back into the grind really easily. So I'm having fun with it.
All right then. Well, I'm sure this isn't the last time we'll hear you talk about that anyway. So
You're goddamn right.
you're goddamn right. Okay. I have mainly been playing Hitman. I splurged and I got it, and I got the complete experience. And I gotta say that the episodic format is the best thing that they could have done. Because
Have you done the online stuff?
well, yeah, I have done escalations as well as story missions. I've yet to do the custom targets, but I'm not really interested in that because I'm still sort of learning the ropes, as it were.
Okay.
So I want to get better at that because I did the what was it called? Not an escalation, but elusive target. An elusive target that they released this month, I think, is a bonus one, and it starred Gary Busey as Gary Busey, and you have to kill him. But here's the thing with the elusive targets: if you fail them, you can never try them again. So I fucked up, and now I haven't killed Gary Busey. That's a shame.
no, he's on the loose.
Yep, yeah.
Gary Busey. Oh no.
But it is a really good game, actually. And why I think that the episodic format was the right choice was every level is incredibly dense and has a frankly insane amount of different approaches you can take to every situation. Just say if I bought the first episode when it first came out, right, I would probably be busy for the better part of a month trying to finish up everything in that one specific level due to the different escalations, due to the different contracts, to secondary goals that you can do again. Like, the game is built on repetition, as it were. It's built around you learning your environment, learning what happens where, with what weapon, with what outfit, stuff like that. And it's insanely interesting because of that. I've probably played through the first two main missions, one in Paris and the other one was in Sapienza in Italy. And I played through those main missions a bunch of times, doing completely different things every single time. And now I'm starting to work through like the bonus missions and stuff. It's great. It is really, really great. And I expected it to be shit because, you know, the internet all at once cried out that the episodic format was a bad way to go, but it really isn't. And I see that the community is sort of turning around to that idea as well. I'm just surprised by how good it is. And actually, Sam, I want to talk to you about this because this is a game that you will fucking love. I know you will love it because it's just all mechanics. All it has is mechanics, slow, meticulous planning, everything like that.
I've been definitely giving it the old side eye here and there.
Yeah.
When I hit the next gap in my time where I'm looking for something to play, that's probably going to fill it. It does seem really awesome. Yeah. I like the old ones too. And what I understood, the argument that I've heard put forward is that the episodic thing, instead of just moving on to the next level, it lets you take your time and you end up sort of being forced to linger and explore all the nooks and crannies of each individual level.
Yeah.
Which is cool. How do you feel like as buying it and getting, like, instead of following the episodic thing, you bought it and you got a big chunk, right?
Yeah, I got the first three missions. I've finished the first one, finished the second one, and the third one in Marrakesh I've played a little bit of, but I've not really sat down and gave that one an earnest try. But they're all...
How does it feel like to you? Is that overwhelming or is that Do you see how you're on a different path? I guess maybe it's not a very high impact difference between the two, but
yeah, I'm only like 4 months behind, really. Like, so I've got 3 levels and 1 bonus mission that is on one of the maps that was already in the game. I don't feel overwhelmed. But I'm just happy to know that there is way more content after I'm done with just the story missions. I can just keep on playing this for months and months and months, I think.
yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, and the game does a really good job at communicating the mechanics to you. It allows you to save often, and you have to. That's because you will fuck up constantly. And the feeling of, well, accomplishment you get when you manage to kill all your targets without ever being spotted and getting out without anyone ever seeing you, that is a great feeling. And I didn't really expect it to hit me as hard as it did, but it fucking did. I did really well, though, on the Paris level. I'm actually 803rd of the world, which is great.
That's pretty great, man. Watch your back, 802 people.
It's got leaderboards, so as you know, I'm really into the competitive stuff. Even though this is a single-player game, the leaderboards make it all the more attractive to go back to levels that you've already completed and just do them again and try to get more efficient at it and stuff. It's great. It's a very rewarding experience.
Do you miss anything by not doing, like, all the elusive targets you missed and the ones that I will obviously miss? Does that mean anything? Does it matter? Is there anything else like that?
I felt kind of down because I missed the Gary Busey one. Well, I fucked up the Gary Busey one because I started it before I understood how the game worked, really.
Or, well, I mean, the ones that obviously you can never get. Are there, like, special things associated with that now you'll never have access to? Or
they've got their own, like, contexts and like backstories and stuff, and it take place on different parts of the map with fully voiced, as I understand it, fully voiced new characters. There are hard missions, but they're smaller in scope, right? And yeah, I feel so sad that I missed the first few elusive targets, but I know that there are many more to come anyway, so I haven't missed that much. So I don't really see that as a problem.
So there's no actual stuff or whatever that you would get? Like guns
probably.
Well, I don't know. Whatever kind of stuff is in Hitman?
Yeah, that's a very good question, actually. Maybe it's like outfits and stuff that you miss, or maybe they're just tied to what level your account is, because you level up your account by completing challenges in the missions. And actually, before I go on about that, I'm not entirely sure how that works, like how the reward system works. I know that if you finish a level, you get access to different starting locations and different outfits to start the missions with. But I don't know what you get for doing elusive targets and, completing them successfully. So a pass on that for now. I'll get back to you next week.
Okay. I mean, it'd be weird if they.
Well, there's probably something that's tied to that, because what's the point of doing them outside of having or getting a new challenge? I mean, there has to be some intrinsic reward for you at the end of the proverbial tunnel, right?
We'll see.
I'll look it up. And I'll let you know next week if you don't forget to ask me. Outside of that, well, Enrique, got any questions about Hitman before we move on?
Nope.
All right, very good. We shall move on to the news now, and we're nearly 40 minutes in, so I think it's high time. Sam, I want to know what your feelings are on the following story, because you are you're pretty big into Nintendo, aren't you?
I like Nintendo a lot.
Well, you know that Nintendo's always really good at finding new concepts that nobody else has done before and then pushing them out to the world. And that'll usually that makes everybody go like, what the fuck are you guys doing now? But the NX is probably going to be something like that as well. According to an article on Eurogamer.net, it's going to be a portable handheld console with detachable controllers.
Okay. I don't know what that means. Tell me more.
All right. I'll read the rest of the article. On the move, NX will function as a high-powered handheld console with its own display. So far, so normal, but here's the twist. We've heard the screen is bookended by 2 controller sections on either side, which can be attached or detached as required. Then, when you get home, the system can connect to your TV for gaming on the big screen. A base unit or dock station is used to connect the brain of the NX within the controller to the display on your TV. Let's see what else is here, because there's like more links to other articles
That's weird. So you just break them off like a Kit Kat and give people a little controller piece?
Yep. Oh, and it uses game cartridges. Not discs, cartridges, because apparently this is the fucking 90s all over again.
Actually, I'd say that would be better. Yeah. Right?
How's that?
Like if there's little SD cards in there, you'd get way better transfer speed than with a CD.
Oh, that's actually
less loading.
Is that still true though? Because most of these games they are on Blu-ray discs now for the PlayStation and stuff like that,
and they still take fucking forever to load.
Yeah, it's still a CD. I mean, SD still transfers faster, unless it's like a UMD or one of the little CDs in the car.
The PSP UMDs. You can hear that poor little disc spinning inside that cage, begging to be free.
All right. Well, this sounds weird. I'm intrigued.
All right. Well,
my first question is: are they gonna? I hope they sell that controller piece separately because I know I'm gonna lose it.
Yeah.
Is this real stuff? This is
an unconfirmed source. So.
Oh man, come on, dude.
No. This is something that quite a few sources have told Eurogamer, if I recall correctly. So it looks likely, but there's info here on what's inside the box as well. Apparently, it will harness NVIDIA's powerful mobile processor Tegra. Graphical comparisons with current consoles are difficult due to the vastly different nature of the device. But once again, we've heard Nintendo is not chasing graphical parity, which is not surprising. They've not been doing that for the past couple of years, so why start now? Quite the opposite. It is sacrificing power to ensure it can squeeze all of this technology into a handheld, something which also tallies with earlier reports. Finally, we've heard from one source that the NX planning has recently moved up a gear within Nintendo ahead of the console's unveiling, which is currently slated for September. After the confused PR fiasco of the Wii U launch, the company is already getting on a simple marketing message for the NX of being able to take your games with you on the go.
Didn't Sony try that with their whole little cross save thing on the PS Vita?
Possibly.
I think cross save is a great idea. Though.
But
isn't that Microsoft that's doing that? Oh no, wait, that's different, right? The Play Anywhere thing. You can it does do cross saves actually. Come to think of it,
man, I still don't want to carry 2 things. That's a bummer.
3
that's
things.
A real bummer.
You've got the screen and the 2 detachable controllers.
Oh yeah, that's right. I have to carry more things now. I don't want to. I want to carry less things. That's my goal.
So on paper, I can see why they think it's a good idea because I don't want to say that it's only been the DS, but I'm pretty sure that their handheld sales have been a big contributing factor to keeping Nintendo afloat.
Oh yeah, that's
so
true.
Maybe they're thinking that hey, we should stick to the handheld market, but throw in that option for, I guess, TV compatibility?
Yeah, that might actually be a good idea because they were not really doing well financially like the past couple years on account of the Wii U. And in the handheld space, they are the king. So, let's just stay in there because there's no comparison to them within that field.
My issue is, though, that I know graphics aren't like the end-all be-all, but I think if you're going to have a game on the big screen like that, it needs to look good to some degree. You can't have because let's be honest, the DS, most of the games look trashy in comparison. They're still grainy as shit, and the resolution isn't that well. The refresh rate's terrible. So I don't want that to put on the big screen. Does that make sense?
Right.
Yeah. Does it say if there's any is there a brain in that little dock thing, or is it just an HDMI port?
Yeah, is it like a Transformer kind of thing where or like Voltron where that little handheld console forms the head and then becomes a whole system?
Apparently it's just a docking station that you use to connect it to the TV.
Oh boy, I'm way less optimistic now. Man, I don't want another portable thing.
It's weird because Nintendo on the one hand, yes, they're great at innovating, but they're also completely shite at innovating in the right way sometimes.
Right.
With the Wii U was great. They brought in the whole motion gaming and people ate it up, which is that whole movement forced Nintendo and it forced Microsoft and Sony to adopt that into their architecture. So kudos to them.
Right.
But then they did they tried doing the dual screen with the Wii U, and that just it fell really short of what the expectations were on it.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe
apart
what
from the naming
sells
issue.
to tons of people isn't what sells to you and me. Maybe that's true.
Maybe.
I mean,
Well,
if they were trying to
isn't
sell to
it-
me specifically, they'd keep making a box with controllers and just making Mario Golf.
But isn't Nintendo's shtick always been to cater to as many people as humanly possible, like bringing as much people as possible together, usually families and stuff?
Yeah, but
So-
then they go on and say things like, "We're not going to do Twitch integration because people don't want to watch you play video games." Yeah.
According to one of these sources, they have heard the suggestion that Nintendo recommends a 32 gigabyte cartridge, which is rather small when you look at how big games are getting now.
Right.
Well,
I mean,
I'd call that right in the margins.
yeah, it's give or take. I mean, that's most games. Usually, like when I think of like Witcher 3 save files, stuff like the whole thing, it's about a 30 gig download and stuff like that. So I can see.
Wait,
Xenoblade
I don't
Chronicles
believe
was
that. The Witcher 3 is way larger than that. I mean, GTA 5 is over 50 gigabytes, so, and that game isn't as big as The Witcher is.
I want to see. I can't remember how big. I think Xenoblade Chronicles. Oh, it was 10.
10 10
What?
gigs was Xenoblade, yeah.
So yeah, 32 is not the worst.
Well, no, I don't think that's really future-proof. Games are getting larger. They are already really fucking large.
Yeah, they are, but at the same time, I mean, it's a lot of that stuff is because of audio and video, though. Like you just really can't compress that well.
So what are you going to do? You're going to?
I think that if
encode
Nintendo
audio.
no, I think if Nintendo can get creative with their art style, they can kind of future-proof a lot of their games. Because let's be honest, I mean, you don't buy Mario Kart because it looks photorealistic. You buy it because it's fucking Mario Kart.
Yeah,
And it looks awesome.
like that.
The one on the Wii U.
That
looks great.
cartoonish kind of style, even Smash Brothers Wii U, like that cartoonish style looks great, and it is future proof in the sense that I could pick up Mario Kart right now and it still looks good in comparison.
Well, yeah, but it's not. Well, at least with the Wii U, it's proven to not really be a system seller. And if you want to
no, I
get
think
more people to get your
dude, the Wii
go
Wii
on.
U sales skyrocketed when they launched the Mario Kart and Mario Kart bundle.
Oh God, yeah, that's right. I'm talking out my ass. Sorry.
No, but I know what you mean though. Like I think the issue that they've had, especially with the Wii U launch, that they didn't have those big name titles when the system launched.
Yeah, they don't really seem to attract people who aren't already Nintendo fans to begin with, which would explain the spike when when Mario
that could
Kart
be
came
it.
out.
Yeah, because I know like when Mario Kart came out, when the Zelda game came out, like that's when you see the big resurgence in Nintendo titles, and like the system in general.
Exactly.
I don't know. I mean, it seems like a cool concept. Like you said, Nintendo's always been one for, like they do have the potential to kind of like throw something out of left field that immediately takes, like gaming culture by storm, and it kind of sets the par. But at the same time, they could totally like miss.
I'm dialing back my expectations slightly.
Why did that docking
that
station
seems to
kill
be
it for you?
I'm turning the dial backwards. You can hear it click, click, click.
Somebody in the comments here is calling it the Wii Walk.
Aw.
I don't know. Who knows, man? I mean, we still don't exactly know, but I guess that's a better idea.
Which is weird considering it's slated to release in March of 2017, and that's kind of cutting it close.
Way too close. Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if this is just their I guess marketing. We're like, oh, we're gonna keep it a secret and build up suspense, but I don't know, man. Like, there was a lot of rumors that E3 that they didn't even have a working prototype yet. So they have all this whole talk of games and everything, but they don't have anything to show for it. So I don't know.
Yeah, they're cutting it awfully close. It's going to be interesting, whatever it is. But the thing that I liked is a big word to use here. But the thing that interested me about that article is that all the things listed, they sound like stuff that Nintendo would totally do.
Yeah, I can see that. My question is, will this console have compatibility to like the DS?
That's a good question. You'd think that they could do something like that because they've got a dock, right?
It's like, yeah, if it serves as a replacement to the 3DS, I think it might do well because that way it just seems like a clear upgrade.
That looks too big to replace the DS.
Here's my question. What are the number of situations where you want to be carrying a thing and set it up, break off 2 controllers, hand the other one to somebody, and then play it right there?
Oh, 0. I'm never going to do that. So if this turns out to be the actual NX, I will once again not buy it.
I'm not going to be sitting at the Jiffy Lube waiting on an oil change and like break off a controller for somebody. And I'm not going to do it at dinner, and I'm not going to do it anytime.
Wait, I thought the controller just broke off when you were sitting at home, so you could play it on the TV.
Well, yeah, if you want to play it with somebody else, you'd have to break off the controllers, don't you?
Yeah, this picture looks like it comes in 2 little parts.
Mm-hmm.
That's so weird.
Yeah.
I mean, because it made it sound like you get home, you put on the dock, you break off one controller for yourself, and that's what you use. And then if somebody wants to jump in, you give them the other one. But otherwise, you keep it together like the Wii U pad, and that's what you use as your console.
Yeah, but it looks rather big, doesn't it? I mean, the concept art shown here, the possible concept art shown here, it looks.
It's not the size that matters; it's how it plays.
And then you got the one person who gets stuck with the
shitty off-brand.
Well, no, like one of them has the buttons and the other one has a D-pad. So they're gonna set it to like down is now B on the D-pad for the second player, and like nobody wants to do that.
I can't wait till they have like the shitty Mad Catz replacement parts where like someone's gonna have to get like that really ugly, translucent, glowing green controller.
Hey man, if it's got fans on it, I'm in.
Oh man, get that palm sweat out of the way.
Anyway, I'm now much less enthusiastic, considering like my main gripe has been that they keep putting stuff like Monster Hunter on the DS when I just want to play it in my living room. I guess this could, sort of console me, right? Because now theoretically I could play Monster Hunter in my living room. But when you have something that does 2 things, it never does either thing as well as something that just does that thing.
That's like true.
It's a universal principle since the dawn of time.
It's like having your Swiss Army knife versus like a specified tool.
Yeah, just give me a bottle opener, dog. I don't want your freaking Victronox.
Is that what that's called?
Is that what? That's the company that makes it.
I thought that was like what the actual like little design tool was called.
No.
I do like how if all this is true, it's still a rumor, but if it turns out to be true, I really do like that Nintendo just sort of doesn't really want to compete with the Xbox One and the PlayStation 4 and just stays within the mobile space, which is something that they've dominated for years, with the DS and stuff like that.
Yeah, at the very least, it shows. I don't know, dude. I don't know what the hell's going on with like Nintendo's like higher ups, but they have this ass backwards way of running their business, it sees like.
Oh yeah, they're completely out of touch.
I mean, just in regards to, and like Sam said, maybe I'm not the target demographic anymore or whatever, but it just seems like a lot of their choices just don't sit well, or they fly in the face of what works so far.
Could it? Well, it could just be that they're not really focusing on core gamers, and the three of us, we are pretty much core gamers, so we look for different experiences, perhaps.
Yeah. Or what if it's cheap?
I don't know, dude.
What if it doesn't cost very much?
Yeah, what if it's cheap?
The Xbox One is currently cheaper than the Wii U.
That's true. Yeah, that's a fact. I don't know. I mean, the people, maybe it's catered to people. Yeah, you're right. Not like us. People who play the DS and their pinkies don't go numb because they have like
that weird claw,
different sized hands. Yeah,
I don't know. It'll be interesting. Like I'm willing to give it the benefit of the doubt, but I'm with Sam though. I think my expectations are dialed back a bit, and that's just based on previous experience with Nintendo.
Fair enough. To quote one of these people in the comments, please Nintendo, just make a normal console.
That's what I'm saying. Just make Mario Golf 100 times on a regular box.
Remember, guys, Sega did what Nintendo don't. Now look where they are now.
Oh, Sonic is coming back, actually.
Yeah, the little Sega Mini Genesis thing.
Yeah, the thing that they had to do to make people excited about a new Sonic is to style it completely like the original Sonic game.
I mean, I feel bad for Sonic, man. He's like that kid you knew in high school that just turned into like a complete like drunken floozy that hangs out by the corner. He's been whored out so many times, and nothing works.
Yep. All right, NX. We may know what it is, but we probably don't. Let's just wait and see. I've got one more story I want to get through before we go. It's a lighter story, if you're in the mood for that. It's about a Californian man called Stephen Kabula, who's a 28-year-old man from Sacramento, and he got arrested on the 12th of July after a particularly toxic exchange between him, some Heroes of the Storm players, and Blizzard Entertainment themselves. Blizzard had been contacted by some players after they had received some rather graphic messages sent by Kabula, I don't know why. The court documents obtained by Polygon mention threats like Sabula threatening to bomb the New York Twin Towers, in addition to several instances where Sabula threatened to rape and kill his opponent's kids. You'd think that he got muted, obviously. You think that would be enough to sort of dissuade him, right?
Did he do more?
But, oh yes, he went to Blizzard's Facebook page, because of course, why the fuck not? And he sent them 2 messages stating that he may or may not pay you a visit with an AK-47, in addition to some other fun tools. At this point, Blizzard called in the FBI help troops, and they got the guy, and he's in custody awaiting trial now.
What's the guy's name?
He also admitted his name is Steven Sabula.
Huh.
Yeah, he's awaiting trial right now, and while he was being questioned by the police, he also admitted that he fantasized about having sexual intercourse with a 5-year-old niece.
Oh, what? Whoa.
Yep.
Whoa, like under no prompting
That's
at all.
just-
They were talking about
Yep.
they were talking
Yep.
to him about something else completely.
Yep. And he has a history of violence. He also threatened to kill one of his teachers when he was still a minor. He is looking at 5 years in prison and a $250,000 fine if he's found guilty. So yeah, what you say online, that's the point I'm trying to make with this. What you say online will have consequences if what you say is severe enough. And
Maybe they throw the book at him, and then now there's a legal precedent for people being shitty online getting messed up by the system.
Well,
Honestly,
yeah, that could happen. Like, you say that jokingly, but that could most definitely happen. And this case is interesting and notable enough for that to be the one that sets the precedent.
Yeah, you just call back to Sebulba versus every normal human being.
Yeah, this man has a history of violent history and a history of mental illness. He was interred in a mental institution for a while as well. Apparently, the guy also has a weird, morbid fascination with Ted Bundy. So your regular.
But again, like
stuff.
this is all after the fact. I mean, Blizzard didn't know any of this when they called the police.
Yeah, obviously.
It was just like, hey, this guy's being an asshole.
Yeah, but you know that the video game angle is the one that is most interesting to us and to the games press. Nobody else is writing about this apart from the games press, and they of course take the angle of people who like video games and what this might mean for video games. The other stuff that he's done or that he's blurted out during some part of the questioning, that is tangential and just anecdotal, really. But what it could mean for video games, or what it could mean for people who like to troll other people online or threaten other people online. I mean, Sean Murray from Hello Games got death threats sent to him because he delayed No Man's Sky, for instance. Like, the result of this court case could change the way that we handle these sort of things.
I don't know. So, like, do you think it's like a
interesting.
weird escalation where now you're going to have developers calling the police on people, having them arrested?
The internet police, specifically.
Well, it could be that they adjust legislation to include stuff like online harassment,
Punishment and stuff?
yeah, like actual punishment. 5 years in prison for being fucking
I'll
mental.
take a vote for, let's get this guy the help he needs, and then let's also, let's book some people for being assholes on the internet.
I'm okay
Why
with
not?
that seems fair. Like, this kid obviously has some kind of mental issues, but I think that people are hide behind the whole anonymity thing a little bit too much, and they realize that they can say anything they want without consequences. So you know what? Give them some consequences.
Here's the thing with freedom of speech, right? That you can say whatever you want does not mean that you can't be hit by the consequences of what you say.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's the thing, and that's a thing that a lot of people online forget. Hell, in the past, I have forgotten that. It's pretty easy to not think of the other people you interact with online as other people who have thoughts and feelings and experiences, etc., because to you they're just a disembodied voice or a piece of text on a computer screen, right? But
True.
People will get frightened if you send them fucking death threats over Heroes of the fucking Storm of all things.
Maybe we can do something against swatting now.
Oh god, yeah, that was a thing as well. Swatting is ridiculous.
Kind
That is illegal anyway. That wasn't a precedent when that happened to a couple of streamers. It didn't need the precedent. The precedent had already been set. It's illegal to do that to people anyway. So
I'm kind of glad that
death threats, man.
I'm all for some
not fun.
consequences.
That's a whole weird barrel.
It is
Interesting story though.
Yeah, the internet is wonderful sometimes, but it's terrible other times. And I think that we should do our part to try and weed out the bad parts of the internet.
You know, actually, a little bit of a tangent, but I'm kind of glad that this story hasn't really been picked up by mainstream. It's mainly Games Press, because I think with Games Press, we're getting a more accurate representation of what's going on. We're like, hey, this guy's playing games. He started being an asshole. He has a history of mental illness. That's probably why he did that, rather than seeing it, blast on CNN saying, hey, guy that plays, Heroes of the Storm is conducive to violence or something like that.
Yeah, well, yeah, of course. I mean, no doubt some mainstream outlets have picked up on this anyway. Here's the thing. It's not like it's hard to find because it happened in California, and in California they just make all the records in the Department of Justice freely available to everyone, which is where that whole California man meme comes from.
Oh. See, I never heard California man. I always heard Florida man.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Florida's where all the crazy shit happens.
Yay, I'm European. I'm ignorant of American culture.
It's all the same.
But apparently California has the exact same rules, because you can just look up the documents for this particular case and read through them. Mind you, they are pretty fucking graphic and disturbing in some places. I had to write an article about it, so I had to pass through it a bit. It's pretty sickening. But on the other hand, I've got a morbid fascination with stuff like this. I find this interesting to watch and interesting to follow, to see what happens. But who knows?
Who doesn't love a good train wreck?
Yeah, and this one's especially train wreck-y. Anyway, I've made it through my list, it seems. So I think we are done officially. I still don't know which number to put in front of the episode, but I'll look that up. You'll probably see that in the title when you're listening to this. As always, social media, Facebook, Twitter. We've got a Discord server. We are on iTunes, etc. All the links in the description down below. Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you next week. Goodbye.